The first genre we're starting with is metal, and we're going to start by dialing in a rhythm tone. The DI has been pre-recorded so we can just dive into getting a tone. Based off of all of our tests, the equipment I chose to record with was the Green Pick, Neil Westfall's custom LTD guitar, NYXL strings, the Little Labs box, into the UTA preamp. For dialing in the actual tone, we chose the JCR reamper, TC Electronics VPD1 vintage pre-drive, Peavy's 5150 block letter, into the Mesa 4x12 rectifier cab with an SM57 on the speaker into the UTA preamp. We're starting off with all the equipment as neutral as possible. All the dials are at 12 o'clock unless it's volume or overdrive, it's all the way down. We're also starting with the pedal just turned off, and the SM57 is on the center of the cone, but we'll listen to some different positions and choose our favorite. All right, let's turn the amp fully on, take it off of standby. Let's just loop a small section of the song and see what it sounds like at the moment. All right, let's listen to what this sounded like. So right away, it's not enough gain, I can tell, and it's a little bit bright, a little bit hissy sounding. So let's change the mic position really quick. Let's head into the ISO booth. All right, so let's go ahead and move this a little bit. Let's be a little extreme for this one. I'll just move it right off of the center of the cone. That looks good. Always use a flashlight so you can see what you're doing. Let's reamp this now. All right, for the last position, we'll just move it even more extreme. There we go. Should be good. Let's reamp that. Okay, so let's listen to these really quick back to back and see if we got a better result with the movement. We're starting with the one on the center of the cone. Very hissy there. That's just off the center. That sounds pretty good. That one is the furthest away from the center, which also kind of sounds good. So I think somewhere around where we had the second position is what we'll choose for this tone. So let's go back in and reposition it, make sure we have it in just the right spot, and let's move on. All right, so let's just move it back a little bit and see if we like that position. Just another reamp. Hopefully we're in the right spot. All right, let's compare that to the ones we liked. That sounds just like the second position. A little darker, and I'm liking that, but not as dark as that third position. I'm good with this. It's really easy to get caught up in this step and just keep moving it and moving it and moving it. But if you know what you're looking for, you can find it right away. So we're good with mic placement, so let's start dialing in the amp. Okay, so let's reamp a longer section so we can really understand the characteristics of this song. Let's do that for the right guitar as well, so we can listen to it in reference to the rest of the parts. Okay, cool. Let's hear what it sounds like with the drums and bass and everything else in the track. So I'm getting sort of a muddy, boxy sound right there. It's not quite sounding exactly how I want. We're already in pretty good shape, which is awesome. These tracks were played very well. So let's start by dialing in some of the resonance and presence of the amp and see where that gets us. Let's go a little extreme with these just so we can really hear what difference they're making. All right, now the right. Okay, cool. Now let's listen to what we have. So if we're comparing it to the old part, let's go from one to the other. So we're definitely getting more depth. It's nice and chunky. You can even see in the waveforms how the low end really spikes up there. Let's see if we can get some more pick attack. I'll just start by turning down the pre-gain on the amp and see if we can just clear it up a little bit. All right, let's hear how that sounds. Now the right guitar. Let's see if that sounds a little less fuzzy. All right, that's a little better than it was, but I think we could still dial in some more definition if we start using this pedal a little bit. So let's start dialing that in. All right, let's turn on the pedal and see how it sounds with everything at 12 o'clock. All right, now a little playback. That's definitely cleared it up. That's given me some of the definition that I'm looking for. However, I've lost some sustain. Instead of adding more distortion on the amp or the pedal, let's actually just throw some compression on the DI to see if we can bring everything up to a louder volume without adding any harmonic distortion or anything like that on the actual DI. All right, so I'll just throw on the Pro Tools compression. Let's see where we are with the DI. So what we want to see here is during those palm mute sustains here and here, we want to see that there's compression all the way up until about halfway through that sustain, and it will look like this. That's closer, a little bit too much. So you can see that the gain reduction kind of goes up, which means it's getting less as it goes to the end of the note, which means the note is kind of being sustained by the compression. Let's play that again so you can see that. So that should come through a lot better on the amplifier. Let's reamp that and see what that sounds like. I'm going to put it on both DIs. Let's just listen to that one. Already better sustain on there without having it sound like the whole thing is more distorted. And that's the great thing about putting compression on a DI instead of a limiter or a clipper or something like that. The clipper may actually mess with the frequencies of the guitar, and the limiter may also add some unwanted frequencies as well, but compression, it's just dealing with volumes. That's all it is. So it keeps it more pure sounding, but it tames those dynamics. And when you're dealing with something that's this distorted, those dynamics don't matter quite as much as if you're doing a clean song or or a crunchy type clean sounding riff. So let's reamp both sides and see what it sounds like in stereo in the mix. All right, let's listen to that. Pretty good. Let's reamp more of this so we can really hone in on what we need to change next. All right, that's a good amount. Then we'll do the right side as well. All right, let's hear what that sounds like in the mix. All right, pretty good. Pretty good shape so far. Let's hear what it sounds like by itself. Let's see what changing the tone knob does on this pedal for our pick attack. All right, let me just play that back. All right, that sounds pretty good. I'm gonna just turn that knob all the way up and let's see what difference that makes. All right, let's play that back. So that sustain, this is our old take here. Seems like it was it was better before. We did get a little more definition, I think. That's the one now. That's one before. We do have a little bit more definition, but we're losing sustain, we're losing that thickness. It was actually pretty clear before, so I'm just gonna put it back to the original 12 o'clock setting because I was pretty happy with the way it sounded already. It's already adding some tone to our DI, so we're benefiting from that nice little mid-range boost. Let's put that on both sides and listen to it with the whole song. Cool, sounding good. Let's do the right side. Nice. And in context, nice and clear, very clear. So I'm pretty happy with where we are. I do like to see the big difference that a knob can make. So I'm just gonna turn the resonance knob all the way up on the amp. We'll reamp with this one setting change and see where it puts us.